Welcome back to The Herd. Joy Taylor in for Colin Cowherd. Alex Curry in for Jason McIntyre. We'll be in tomorrow as well. And I will be with Ric Bucher later today on Speak, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, alongside Emmanuel Acho, Shady McCoy, and Dave Howman. And Ric Bucher has been covering the NBA since 1993.
That is correct.
That's correct?
Yes.
Fox Sports NBA
Do we always
analyst.
have to bring that up?
Why do we always have to
bring that up?
Okay, fine. I will stop bringing that up. I like to say how long I've been doing things.
I know. But it's one thing to go since 1993? Really?
1993, I was... You want to know how old I was?
No, that's exactly why I don't want to bring it up.
Same age. So.
Well, yeah. All right, so we'll skip past the 1993 part. Yes, it's 2023, and we're going to talk about what's going on right now.
How old were you in 1993?
I was born in 87, so.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah. Young.
Okay.
But I was watching the NBA then, which is why I'm a Michael Jordan zealot, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Okay.
So the Suns acquired Kevin Durant. I talked a little bit about it earlier in the show. I think, and we talked about this yesterday on Speak, I have a lot of thoughts about how we contextualize Kevin Durant's career. The owner talks about there's not a whole lot of pressure this year. Yeah. I think fans and media would probably disagree. I tend to agree with him because I think it's not that easy to put these things together. Mind you, Kevin Durant is not even healthy yet. He's not even playing yet.
Right.
Do you think they have to win a championship this year for this to be successful?
No. I mean, anytime you can get a player like Kevin Durant, that in itself is successful. Okay, let's be honest. As a brand new owner, you're bringing in Kevin Durant to play with Devin Booker, and you have him under contract. So that in itself is a success. I certainly can't look at it as they have to win this year because you got 20 games to get ready. It's not realistic. It's not to have an expectation that they should win would mean that they have an avenue to it, and I just don't see it. I expect the champion to come out of the East to begin with. But the difficulty is that this may be their best chance. I think that's what the owner is looking past because Chris Paul is running on fumes right now. And I still believe that Chris Paul is a linchpin to their success. So how are you going to make this team appreciably better going forward, especially when you moved some pieces that I think have been massively undervalued? Mikal Bridges is a player. Cam Johnson, young player. Jay Crowder was not playing this year, but was a pivotal part of the team that went to the finals and that had 60-some wins last year. So that's my issue is, no, I don't think that they have to win this year for it to be a success. But if they don't win this year, I don't know how their odds are going to get appreciably better to do it.
So we also talked about this on Speak, and I talked about this earlier with LeBron and the Lakers. He mentioned that these final 23 games of this season are some of the most important of his career. So he's obviously taking it very seriously. And I thought a little bit about it overnight, and we're constantly bringing up the Wizards' years as if they don't matter to Michael Jordan. But we do always bring them up. We don't talk about them, but we do mention them. Almost like, we're not going to count the Wizards' years, but we do talk about them. Yeah. But that was the Wizards. I realize LeBron won a championship here, but if they don't make the playoffs this year, which is entirely possible.
Yes.
Say they don't make the playoffs again next year. When LeBron is retired, when LeBron is done, the book is written, will we look back on the Lakers years the way that we kind of brush away the Wizards years with Michael? Because Michael's success in the finals was so untouchable that we were like, whatever.
Right.
But LeBron is still playing at a high level. He's playing with Anthony Davis. Yep. And he's playing in Los Angeles with the Los Angeles Lakers. Yep.
Well, obviously, playing with the Lakers adds something to it, right? And he's playing a lot longer here than Michael played with the Wizards. So there's more there. The challenge is, if you're going to dismiss the Lakers years, are we dismissing the bubble championship? Are we dismissing the 3 titles? We can't do that. So the issue that I have, I think we would give them less importance if LeBron wasn't giving them so much importance. If LeBron wasn't saying, these are the 20-some games, most important regular season games of my career, I would look at it and go, Look, good luck. I hope you make it to the playoffs. I hope we get to see the Lakers in the playoffs. I hope we get to see LeBron there because it's always more interesting when LeBron is involved. But when you say it's the 23 most important regular season games, then it's LeBron who's saying it's important. And when he says, I can still play for championships, we look at it and go, okay, so are you going to?
Right, then these matter.
Right, exactly. And the next couple years matter because you're saying you can still do this. So Michael wasn't doing any of that. He wasn't saying this is a vital part of my career or I have to accomplish X, Y, and Z. So, yeah, we're probably making too much of the Lakers' years at this point in LeBron's career. But LeBron is leading us there to do that.
But I also think it's the Lakers. Like, if he had done this in Cleveland, if he had won the 2020 championship in Cleveland and now things were going the way that they were, we would feel this more like a twilight, even if LeBron was saying that.
Oh, I think LeBron makes the difference. I think if LeBron just went home and said, I want to play for the Cavaliers, I want to play in front of the crowd, it's all that, then we wouldn't give it the same significance. And Alex, I knew that we were going to talk about LeBron on the show today because Joy got cut off in talking about LeBron on the show on Speak yesterday. So I was like, I know this is going to be part of the show.
I didn't get to that yet. Well, because I think so what happened on Speak yesterday was our dear friend Rick, I felt, gave the Lakers front office a nice kind of landing, a nice pillow landing.
They deserve it.
Okay, I disagree with how the roster has played out over the past few years. The move that was made at the trade deadline, which I think was a good move.
Okay.
But I feel it might end up being too little too late.
Very possible. Very possible.
Like this roster hasn't been what LeBron's needed for a while. And I don't know that LeBron is the one who's making all of those decisions. Like if LeBron is making all of the decisions on all of the roster moves and when not to move and when to move, like he is really playing GM, then yes, I would lay that at LeBron's feet. But I do not believe that is the case.
I do. I believe whether it's LeBron or Clutch, that they have a lot of influence on what the Lakers are doing still. Now, this may be the first year where he didn't have as much immediate influence, that he would have wanted all of this to happen sooner. But I will tell you that this was a unique year. I mean, in order to make deals, in order for them to get the players that they wanted, you have to have the other team willing to let those players go. And whether it was the Utah Jazz or any of the other teams, everybody slow played it this year. That's why you had that avalanche of deals right at the end. It wasn't just the Lakers. Like a lot of teams were out there like waiting to see what was going to happen. Who was going to say, we're going to get into the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes as opposed to go for one of the play-in spots.
Right.
And it's really what the play-in has done. This has been successful by the league because normally by end of December, beginning of January, you have teams that just go, oh, we're not making the playoffs. Let's go the other way. We're going to sell off players. And it would have made a much more robust trade market earlier. And that just wasn't the case this year. So when I look at what they were able to accomplish at the last minute, yeah, you're right. It may be too little too late. But I don't know that there were deals to be made, significantly earlier than when they made them.
I don't know.
I know
Rick.
you are struggling with giving Rob Pelinka and the Lakers any sort of.
No, I think they deserve credit for the move that they made.
Okay.
I think that when we're talking about LeBron James, and he's playing at the level he's playing at, and you have a healthy Anthony Davis. Yeah. I think you maybe try to make those deals earlier. You maybe move off of some of those draft picks in 2048 or whatever it is, maybe a little sooner.
But I'm going to say this. Look, Anthony Davis is there because of LeBron James.
Of course.
Russell Westbrook was there because of LeBron James. If there are two sticking points, if there have been two obstacles to the Lakers not being everything we expect the Lakers to be with LeBron James, those two guys are at the heart of it. So he was responsible for those two guys being there.
Well, while I have lots of issues with Anthony Davis's availability, they did win a championship with Anthony Davis. So I'll move that one off the table. Westbrook, we could talk about for the next 20 minutes, but I want to ask you about Kyrie. So how do you think Luka and Kyrie are going to work together in Dallas? Do you think this ends up being long-term also?
Ooh, that's I don't expect it to be long-term just because of all the rumblings we're hearing about LeBron and Kyrie getting back together. And I believe that where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
You know, an AD Kyrie deal, while I wouldn't do it, I could see that being a very real possibility.
Wow.
Okay. So with that said, but look, both of them are trying to make it work. The fact that they lost the game already, trying to get each other the ball, I think is actually a good sign. They want to see how they can make it work offensively. Defensively, it's with everything. Where are the expectations?
Right.
What do we expect from the Mavericks?
Well, I mean, I think this move was made to not only appease Luka, which they should absolutely try to do,
right,
but to try and win a championship.
Right.
The West is essentially open.
Right.
I would tend to agree with you. I think the stronger team will come out of the East this year, but they can get to the finals with this team. Now, I'm with you. You gave up some pieces that nobody seems to be paying attention to, but really good defenders. And the finals last year featured the two best defensive teams in the league.
Yep.
And it matters. We focus so much on scoring in the NBA. You got to get stops also if you're going to win a championship.
Yep. And we focus a lot on the star power. And you have to have stars to play for a championship. There's nothing wrong with that premise. But you also need depth and you need experienced role players. That's been a key part of every championship team too. And they don't have those now. And in the regular season, the way the game is being officiated, everything is offense. So I could see the Mavs doing very well in the regular season for the remainder of 20-plus games. Same with the Phoenix Suns. But then we're going to get to the playoffs where the whistle is not blown as frequently. You don't get the free throw line as often. Defense does matter. The game does slow down. And that's where the expectations from what they do in the regular season, I could see where the rug's going to be pulled a little bit in terms of what they're actually able to do in the playoffs.
So you mentioned that you think that the champion will come out of the East this year.
Yeah.
Who do you think is coming out of the East?
I've said the Bucks from the beginning of the year, and I'm not going to come off of that. But I really do think it's between the Bucks and the Celtics, and I am concerned about this wrist injury with Giannis. That's not a small thing.
So you think it will be between the Bucks and the Celtics?
I do. I really think it comes down to those two teams. They have everything.
If the Celtics don't get it done, do they make massive changes?
It depends on how they don't get it done. If it's Jason Tatum once again not coming up big when he needs to come up big, then, and I'm not saying that they would necessarily move him, but I could see them reordering it if they have another collapse the way they did with the Golden State Warriors. I think at some point you have to psychologically make a change. If you've climbed the mountain twice and you fall short, bringing back the same crew, I don't know that works in your locker room. Yeah,
I mean, it would just become a bit of, doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
That's the definition of insanity.
But it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
What they have there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm. It's hard for me to root for the Celtics as a Miami Heat fan, but I do want to see them have the success because I do think that well-run organizations that do the build from within and make good choices and all of that, I feel like it should be rewarded by the sports gods at some point or another.
Well, think about where the season started. You just lost your coach. That was a dumpster fire. Coming out, and the way you lost to the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
And now they're back at the top of the Eastern Conference, and you're feeling good about everything. Jason Tatum's all-star MVP, et cetera. I kind of want to see, I would be happy just as a basketball fan to see that story come full circle this year. But if you're asking me who I'm going with the Bucks.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.